Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some massive news for those down in Gainesville as Florida lands another commit in the 2024 class at Adarius Hayes from Largo, Florida. This is a really interesting recruit. You're looking at his 24/7 recruiting profile. And again, 24/7 Sports, not the biggest fan of Adarius Hayes coming out of high school. And I say that because he's ranked outside the top 200 according to them. You take a look at that composite ranking, 61st nationally, On3, another highly respected recruiting service, has him as a top 50 prospect nationally. This guy has a lot of juice to him. Interested to talk about what he might be doing for the Florida Gators. And we're also going to talk a little bit about Billy Napier in the future of this Florida program. We just recorded on Keontae Goodwin a couple days ago, coming in from Kentucky. I think things are trending in the right direction, although it was kind of ugly at times in his first year in Gainesville. I think Billy Napier can really turn this program around. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. Again, before we do, though, I just want to say thank you to you guys, especially the Gator fans. Like, I love talking roster construction, depth chart construction at the college football level, especially when it gets to high school recruiting. You guys have been absolutely awesome with the support. So, again, if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. This Florida team is a team that we like to talk a lot about in terms of what Billy Napier can do with this program. I think it's a program that's trending in the right direction, although there might be some growing pains along the way, and I think you saw that year one. So again, if you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get into Adarius Hayes first, and we'll take a look at this 2024 class and what Billy Napier is trying to do with this program. Adarius Hayes, we talked about it. There's a lot of recruiting services and scouts that really like this dude. He's 6'4", he's 210 pounds, so you see the frame. Like, he's got that edge pass rusher frame to him. Probably comes into Gainesville as a true freshman, probably 6'5". I'm just interested to see what they do with him. I think he's more going to be an edge rusher. That's kind of what 24/7 is leaning. But when you do watch his highlight, he can play in space really well. So if he does stay 6'4" and maybe only gets to 230, 235 pounds, I could see him playing off-ball linebacker as well. That being said, he's got some serious juice coming off the edge and rushing the passer. I would expect him to put on some weight, and you normally see that. It's not too rare to see edge prospects when they're juniors in high school be only 200, 210, maybe 220 pounds, and then they put that weight on as they graduate high school and get into a college football strength room. Florida does a phenomenal job developing bodies, and I would guess that Adarius Hayes, when he comes in as a freshman, is going to be putting on some weight and getting after the passer. And again, I think it's a position that Florida could use some work on. And Brenton Cox was a guy that I absolutely loved. I didn't think he reached his full potential. You take a look at that 2023 class, they got some serious playmakers on the defensive line that are coming into the program. And you're seeing Florida kind of put an emphasis on recruiting the trenches. They're going to, this is a team, and this kind of gets more into what Billy Napier wants to do with this program. They want to be physical. That's how Billy Napier made his money at University of Louisiana Lafayette, and that's what he's trying to do with Florida. They had a phenomenal offensive line. There weren't a ton of bright spots on the offensive side of the football for Florida. The running backs in the offensive line in the run game were one of those bright spots. And obviously, you lose some guys to the transfer portal. You lose a guy like Osiris Torrance to the draft. But Billy Napier is bringing in some guys. Keontae Goodwin coming in from Kentucky. He's a big, big dude that they want to be physical. They want to run the ball, and they want to be physical on the defensive line as well. Tackling and physicality has been a problem, especially under Dan Mullen. Billy Napier is trying to nip that in the butt. And again, when you talk about Billy Napier and the struggles he might have had in his first year in Gainesville, I think a lot of similarities can be made to Oklahoma and Brent Venables. Both of these guys are coming in and really trying to establish a different culture than what was in place before. Now, you look at Oklahoma, Brent Venables taking over for Lincoln Riley. Very, very different contrast in how they want the programs to be run. Dan Mullen and Billy Napier are very similar, or very different as well, I should say. It's a very similar situation. Dan Mullen, more of a looser guy, a little less disciplined. Billy Napier, he's all about culture. He's all about discipline. He's all about physicality. And I think you saw some of these guys that were Dan Mullen dudes didn't necessarily match up with what the Florida Gators wanted to do, especially on the offense and defensive sides of the ball. You're seeing Billy Napier come in and change that culture. And because it's such a different culture change, in my opinion, you saw some struggles. And this team is talented. And I don't think Florida's going to have a problem attracting top-end talent. There's a lot of discussion about Billy Napier not being a great recruiter. I think a lot of that stigma or narrative comes from losing a guy like Jaden Rashada, where not going to speculate about what happened. You guys all have, I'm sure the Gator fans have read plenty about what happened with Jaden Rashada. Outside of that, he brought in a very strong 2023 class, and you take a look, we'll pull up this 2024 class. He's doing a lot of the same. And one thing I want to focus on, and something we talked about when we were talking about Keontae Goodwin, is I think the recruiting is in a lot better place than most people think. The narrative is Billy Napier can't recruit with the big dogs. He's used to recruiting at University of Louisiana Lafayette. It's a lot different when you're going after top 100, top 50 guys nationally and the top players from Florida. That being said, you're seeing a lot of talented dudes take official visits to Florida, visit campus, including them in their top 5, taking the photo, recruiting pictures with them. And I think that all really, really helps. And even if you're not landing every single guy that is coming in on visits, having those top players come in, bring in their friends, bring in their teammates, the recruiting for Florida, I think, is in a lot better place than a lot of people think. And you see that in the 2024 class, taking a look. And I get it's early. These guys are committed, and it's one thing to get a commitment, and it's one thing to get the NLI signed in December. DJ Lagway, a top quarterback in the 2024 class, already locked up. Miles Graham, somebody I'm extremely excited about. We talked about him way back in August when he committed from Atlanta, Georgia. And then Adarius Hayes. That is 3 guys in the top 100 already in this 2024 class, landing him at number 7 overall. But you're seeing Florida make the top 5 of a lot of top recruits in this 2024 class. I think you're going to get a lot of those guys on campus in the fall. And again, I think Florida is going to make it happen on the recruiting trail. And again, Billy Napier has been a very, very good developer of talent. That's how he made his money at ULL. And I think that's what he's going to do at Florida. He has all the resources available to get these top guys into the program. I just think it will take some time to get those guys bought into that culture. Because again, when he takes over from Dan Mullen, a lot of those guys were not bought into what they committed to Dan Mullen. They did not commit to Billy Napier. They did not commit to what he wants to do on both sides of the football. Once Billy Napier starts to get the talent combined with the guys want to be here, I think you're going to see a lot more better play on the football field under Billy Napier. And you saw a lot of guys leave. That's not very surprising when you have a new coach. A lot of those guys were not committed to Billy Napier. They were committed to Dan Mullen. I'm personally very excited for this Florida program. I think they're going in the right direction. I thought Billy Napier was a very strong hire. I get the concerns where he does not necessarily have that big-time Power 5 level experience that some of the other coaches had, but he's doing things the right way, and I think that's what Florida kind of needed. Very excited for the future of Florida, and again, the recruiting does not seem to be a problem as they land another big-time commit in the 2024 class. Again, if you guys did enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.